When most of us hear that familiar beat, now this is a story, we smile. It's the sound of after-school reruns, of bright 90s colors, of laughter echoing through a living room that somehow felt like ours. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air wasn't just a sitcom, it was comfort. A black family on primetime television, funny and proud and whole, teaching lessons between jokes. But then came Bel-Air. Same premise, same names, and everything felt different. The laughter? Gone. The light? Dimmed. The same story now unfolded under storm clouds instead of sunshine. And as we stand on the edge of its final season, one question keeps rising in every fan community. What does this darker retelling actually change? Not just for Will Smith's legacy, but for how we see ourselves and how far we've come since the 1990s. Stay with me for this journey, because by the end, you might realize Bel-Air isn't replacing the Fresh Prince. It's rewriting the way that story could end in today's world. Feel free to drop your first impression in the comments. Are you Team Fresh Prince or Team Bel-Air? I'll read a few out in the next video. In the 90s, Will's West Philadelphia born and raised was a punchline. A few basketball games, one little fight, a goofy spin around in a cab, and he lands in Bel-Air, where culture clash meets comedy gold. But when Bel-Air opens, West Philly isn't nostalgia, it's survival. Will isn't clowning, he's running. Gunfire, police sirens, and panic replace canned laughter. That single change tells you everything. The Fresh Prince was about belonging, Bel-Air is about escaping. In the 90s, America wanted reassurance that success erased danger. In the 2020s, we know success doesn't erase anything, it only hides the cracks until they split. The reboot drags those cracks into the light. Race, class, privilege, mental health, police violence. Every scene is a question. Can you really outrun where you came from? And it's not just Will who changes. Everyone around him does too. Uncle Phil is still powerful, but not the teddy bear patriarch we remember. He's ambitious, political, weighed down by expectations. He doesn't just want to guide Will, he wants to protect his own image. Aunt Viv's dreams aren't paused for the family, they're pulsing under the surface, a reminder of every sacrifice women of color make to hold households together. Carlton, that's the biggest shock. Gone is the lovable square, now he's brittle, anxious, desperate for validation in rooms that still whisper he doesn't belong. He's what happens when assimilation hurts more than rebellion. Hillary isn't the caricature of wealth anymore. She's an influencer trapped between empowerment and performance. Ashley, once the innocent kid's sister, becomes the mirror, seeing truths adults can't face. Even Jeffrey changes, no longer comic relief, but quiet menace, a fixer, a man with secrets. He's not cleaning up messes, he's erasing them. Each transformation asks a darker question. What happens when we grow up and realize the world we laughed at was never really funny? That's the emotional heartbeat of Bel-Air. It isn't nostalgia for 1990, it's reckoning with 2025. If you're watching this far, hit that like button. It tells the algorithm you still care about stories that mean something. And tell me below, which character's transformation hit you hardest? In The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, pain always had a punchline. Will could argue with Uncle Phil, storm out, and within 22 minutes there'd be a hug and a lesson. But in Bel-Air, that heals that fast. Because in real life, pain doesn't resolve in one episode. It lingers. It grows. It follows you into every room, every decision, every silence. And that's what the reboot dares to say out loud. Growing up black in America isn't a sitcom. When Will's past collides with Bel-Air's luxury, every scene is a negotiation. How much of himself can he keep before he's asked to blend in? How much can he bend before he breaks? It's uncomfortable, and that's the point. Bel-Air doesn't let us hide behind laughter anymore. It wants us to sit with the tension we used to joke away. In the 90s, Will Smith's charm was a weapon against stereotype. In 2025, Jabari Banks's vulnerability is the weapon, soft power in a world that still demands hardness. The message has changed. Fresh Prince said you can make it if you're clever. Bel-Air says you can make it, but it will cost you. And that subtle shift, that's where the heart of this story beats now. In the early 1990s, mainstream America wanted palatable black stories, stylish, funny, digestible. Fresh Prince gave that. It opened doors, put sneakers on marble floors, and made laughter the bridge between two worlds. But Bel-Air lives in an era where those doors aren't enough. Representation isn't the victory anymore. Authenticity is. The reboot isn't trying to charm us, it's trying to challenge us. That's why scenes linger longer. That's why the silences are heavy. That's why the jokes land like sighs, not laughs. You'll notice it even in the color palette, from neon greens to deep ambers. Where Fresh Prince looked like possibility, Bel-Air looks like consequence. And that's not a downgrade. It's evolution. We grew up. The world changed. So the story had to change too. If you're still watching, comment below. Do you think Bel-Air needed to go darker, or did it lose the charm that made Fresh Prince timeless? There's no wrong answer, only your truth. And that's what keeps this conversation alive. Now let's talk about the one thing fans can't agree on: legacy. Some see Bel-Air as an act of respect, taking a comedy that comforted us and giving it the depth we didn't know it needed. Others say it's too heavy, too cynical, that it traded laughter for lectures. But maybe that's exactly why it matters. Fresh Prince reflected who we wanted to be. Bel-Air reflects who we became. One showed the dream, the other shows the cost. And in between them lies the truth. The messy, brilliant truth that growing hurts. That's why even if you prefer the old theme song, you keep watching the new one. Because deep down, you want to see if this version of Will can make it out alive. Not just survive Bel-Air, but find himself inside it. That tension, that open wound, is what makes the upcoming finale so unpredictable. Because this time, there's no laugh track to tell us everything's okay. When you stand both shows side by side, one looks like a dream, and the other like the morning after. In The Fresh Prince, every conflict resolved with a lesson. In Bel-Air, every lesson comes with a scar. So what does that mean for the endgame? Let's imagine three possibilities, not spoilers, but what-ifs that fans everywhere are whispering. What if Will leaves Bel-Air for good? He came to escape his past. Maybe the only way to grow is to stop running. The finale could send him back to Philly, not defeated, but complete. A man who finally reconciles the two halves of himself. It would echo the Fresh Prince ending when Will stayed behind as everyone moved out, but this time he moves forward. What if Carlton is the real focus? In every version, he's the mirror to Will, the cost of belonging. Fans predict the final episodes could flip the lens entirely. Will becomes the grounding force while Carlton unravels or rebuilds. That inversion would say what Bel-Air has hinted all along. Privilege doesn't protect you, truth does. And what if someone doesn't make it out at all? Some theories go darker, that tragedy, not triumph, closes the story. It wouldn't be shock value, it would be statement. Because this world runs on consequence, not convenience. None of these paths end with a freeze-frame smile. And maybe that's okay. Maybe the real victory is honesty, a finale that tells us growing up means losing the illusion that everything will be fine and finding the strength to keep going anyway. When The Fresh Prince ended, it left us laughing through tears. When Bel-Air ends, it might leave us silent, processing, arguing, feeling. That silence will be its legacy. Because for the first time, the story isn't about a boy adapting to wealth. It's about an entire culture refusing to shrink itself to fit inside a mansion. That's the real difference. One show asks for permission, the other demands presence. So when that final episode rolls credits, maybe the question isn't which version was better. Maybe it's which version tells your truth today. Whether you grew up on the laugh track or the low hum of tension, both stories share one heartbeat. A boy from Philly trying to find his place. Maybe that's why the reboot hurts, because it reminds us we're still looking for ours. And when the screen fades to black and Will walks towards whatever's next, the answer won't come from him. It'll come from you. So tell me, how should it end? Should Will stay in Bel-Air or go home? Should Carlton rise or fall? What would make the story feel complete to you?
Drop your theory in the comments. I'll feature the best ones in a follow-up video after the finale. And if you made it this far, thank you. You didn't just watch a video, you took a walk through memory, culture, and growth. Hit subscribe if you want to see how these theories play out, because when that last episode drops, we'll break it down together, scene by scene. Until then, keep asking the question both shows started with. Who are you when the world around you changes?